I got you. You see, this chapter is all about listening. You thought you couldn't hear me, or maybe you were really, really happy to not have to hear my voice again this week. If that was the case, sorry to disappoint. Sorry to disappoint. That'd be a really great title for my autobiography, and then we can make a movie out of it, and John Cusack can play me, and then... Oh, sorry. And back to the chapter at hand. Chapter 4, listening. Okay, in this video lecture, I'm going to cover 2 topics. The first topic is all about the types of listening. There are four types of listening: appreciative, comprehensive, critical, and empathetic. First, appreciative listening is the type of listening you do when you listen to my voice. It just brings such delight, doesn't it? Okay, seriously. Appreciative listening is what happens when you listen to something for some sort of pleasure, a movie, a music, play, anything that brings us some form of joy. Second, comprehensive listening, otherwise known as informational listening, is when you are listening to gain knowledge about something. So right now, you're engaging in informational listening. You are trying to learn about something from this class. Textbook example. The third is critical listening, otherwise known as deliberative listening. This is the kind of listening that we do when we're trying to figure out the worth of something. So when you listen to a political debate, for example, you are critically listening, trying to figure out who is telling the truth. I'll fill you in on a secret. Nobody is telling the truth. Okay, maybe sometimes they are. When we critically listen, we're trying to figure out what we agree with and what we don't agree with. The fourth type of listening is called empathetic listening. I call this Oprah listening. It's the kind of listening we do when somebody is sharing problems with us. We're trying to empathize with them, put ourselves in their shoes, and offer comfort, just like Oprah. Need a tissue? Notice the book... They went back there. Notice the book spends a long time on empathetic listening. That's because it is the type of listening most related to interpersonal communication. In our various relationships, we spend a lot of time listening to each other's problems. This doesn't make us a society of complainers, necessarily. Okay, maybe we do complain a little too much. But being a good listener helps us to be a better friend, family member, coworker, teammate, or significant other. So those are the 4 types of listening. To recap, we have appreciative listening, listening for pleasure; comprehensive listening, listening to learn; critical listening, listening to evaluate; and empathetic listening, listening to offer support. The second topic I'll be talking about today is listening barriers. There are so many barriers to listening. In order to overcome these barriers, we need to be aware of them. The book lists 10 of these on page 105. I'm going to run through these pretty quickly, so do refer back to the book for more information, or you can always ask me for clarification. First, we have tuning out. Sorry. Anyway, this is when we lose focus. This is also called glazing over. We just simply are in some zombie land sleep state. Sorry. You might have experienced this in one of your classes. It happens a lot when you're tired or bored. Second, we have faking attention, also known as pseudo-listening. This is when you pretend you're listening, but really you're not. Maybe you hear some of what is being said, but mostly nothing. Unlike tuning out, you are giving feedback that makes it look like you're listening. Maybe you're nodding your head or saying, uh-huh, but in reality you're not listening at all. Third, we have losing contact opportunities. This sometimes happens when we prejudge somebody and their message, so we decide to not listen to what they have to say. This goes hand in hand with what we learned from Chapter 3. You might make assumptions about people based on stereotypes, and then not listen to them as a result. Personally, this is a huge challenge for me. When I encounter somebody who I perceive to be homophobic, for example, I find it hard to listen to them because I assume everything they say will be ignorant. We lose opportunities to make connection when we let this happen, though. Fourth, there is losing control. This is when we get overly emotional, and this leads us to shut down our listening process, perhaps cutting back and interrupting the other person, becoming argumentative, or just walking away from the conversation. I'm sorry, I'm back. The book does discuss trigger words that might set this off. Being aware of these red flag words will help us avoid losing control. Laziness is the fifth of our listening challenges. And no, this doesn't mean that you like to sit around all day playing video games. This means that you're not willing to challenge yourself and listen to somebody when you don't feel the effort is worth it. This might go hand in hand with losing contact opportunities, as I described earlier. This is a long list. Are you getting tired yet? Go ahead and take a quick break. I'm just going to grab a drink and a quick snack. Little cannibal. Your peppermint patty here. Okay. When I practiced it, I didn't actually eat anything, so it took a little longer. That's better. Next, sixth is egocentrism. This is when you see yourself as the most important person in the room and discount what others have to say as a result. Those who are especially egocentric usually want others to listen to them, but don't want to listen to anybody else. Now, many people are egocentric, except me. I am the most important person in the room. What did you want to say something? Sorry, no time. Okay, seventh. We have distraction from external factors. This could be anything like noise, a phone ringing, a baby crying, or a siren outside, or maybe even just a conversation that's going on nearby. Did you see what Patrick just did? He just ate that big candy, and I just did it on camera and everything. I know, what did he do that for? Eighth, we have wasting time. This is what happens when we don't account for the speech-thought differential. You see, we think way faster than we can talk. Except for me. I do talk pretty fast. Anyway, that means to be a good listener, we have to really slow down our brains and focus on what the other person is saying. If we don't, we will let our mind wander and not get everything we need to. Ninth is apprehensiveness. This is when we have a fear of having to process information that we might not agree with. This shuts down our listening process so as not to overly change our worldview. I don't have a joke for this one, sorry. And finally, burnout. How appropriate that this is also called information overload. If you listened to this entire video straight through without stopping, you should be suffering from some of this right about now, or about 5 minutes ago. This is what happens when we have too much information coming at us all at once. That's why I try to keep these videos short, less than 10 minutes for sure. But our attention spans as a society have gone down so much in recent years that even 10 minutes may be too much at times. I'm at 8:28 right now, so I gotta get going. So, that's all about listening. Hey. Hey, you. Wake up! Wake up! Thanks. Gosh, I mean, I know that was a lot of information and it was a little dry, but come on. Sleeping right in the middle of my video? I can see you, you know? And hey, maybe you should put some pants on. Just saying. All right, folks. Have a great week. See you next time.